Sustainable style is going to be the new trend as more and more retailers are promoting sustainable practices in the fashion world. Clothing that is good for you is also good for the environment. Chemicals in your clothing can be really bad for your skin and can cause health complications. Conventional clothing is made from harmful chemicals such as pesticides, bleach, toxic dyes, and more. Even organic clothing harm your skin and can cause skin problems. Sustainable fashion doesn't have to be expensive. Many retailers including a conscious line for those who want to improve our ecosystems. H&M has an affordable, sustainable line that is not only cute but also cheap. Sustainable and ethical fashion tend to be slightly more expensive because sustainable materials already tend to cost more. Materials can be farmed in an organic manner which has costs associated with it. Sustainable practices include paying workers fairly, which also goes into how much you are paying for clothing and other sustainable merchandise. You don't have to work with a huge clothing budget to shop ethically. Just realizing that quality is more important than quantity and spending more on a few pieces than a lot of things helps the environment tremendously. Try to balance from buying conscious brands to buying secondhand. Of course, it depends on your situation and your budget and your needs, but there are definitely ways to have a more conscious closet without spending a lot of money. Sustainable clothing is usually derived from recycled polyester, glass, and denim. The fashion industry is notorious for being resource heavy. The industry's water, textile, and transportation usage is very high. It is the responsibility of all of us as consumers and producers to take action and create a healthier fashion industry. Changing your shopping habits to accommodate a more sustainable lifestyle can seem draining, but it is worth it and necessary. The idea of sustainable fashion has become less about the products themselves and more about their attitudes towards it. We are still far from change, but it is happening and we should be proud of ourselves. After buying sustainable clothing, how you take care of them is just as important. Wash your clothes with cold water to reduce energy usage and buy biodegradable detergent to prevent pollution. If you can air dry, do it. It will save energy and money. A big part of the impact of our wardrobe comes from how we care for our clothes. Hot water uses a lot of energy and is also really hard on our clothes as well. Ask questions, find information, be curious and interested in knowing more. Do your research on brands and find out what brands are cruelty-free and which ones aren't. It will guide your purchases, and once you really start to care about what goes into making your clothes, I assure you will gravitate towards brands that are cruelty-free. You'll feel a lot better putting your money into something that does more harm than good. Shop with power. Over the past few months, I have become more passionate about what I buy and where it comes from. I've done a lot of research and have taken time to really educate myself in preserving the environment. Poor working conditions, child labor, and negative environmental impacts are the main reasons that have driven me to shop consciously. Labor accounts for 12 cents, and if you think about how much goes into buying a shirt from spinning it, growing the cotton, turning it into fabric, sewing it, and transporting it. Sustainable fashion gained popularity in the early 1990s when big companies such as Patagonia encouraged sustainability in their business. These businesses did research on their fibers and their impact on the environment. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, the sustainable fashion movement expanded tremendously. According to Earth Pledge, at least 8,000 chemicals are used to turn raw materials into textiles, and 25% of the world's pesticides are used to grow non-organic clothing. This can cause irreversible damage to people and the environment. The worst part is that 2/3 of a carbon footprint occurs after it is purchased. So think about the way you're washing your clothes. Sustainable fashion is used interchangeably with slow fashion. Slow fashion, or the slow movement, advocates for good, clean, and fair production of clothing. The slow movement favors quality, production that doesn't harm the environment, and fair pay for workers as well as fair pay for consumers. The concept of slow fashion borrows heavily from the slow food movement. Slow food movement favors awareness and responsibility with food. Elements of slow fashion include buying secondhand clothing, redesigning old clothes, shopping locally, making your own clothes, and most importantly, buying clothes that will last longer. So you may ask yourself, what are the factors you consider when thinking about the sustainability of a specific material? The renewability and source of a fiber, the process of how they turn the raw fiber into textile, and the working conditions all impact the material's total carbon footprint. Think about doing some research on organizations that are working to increase the visibility of the sustainability movement. It is our duty to help the fashion industry be more sustainable and create a social change that aims to respect the environment in which we live.